When a dead world knocks back, something alive wants you. For 10 years, Kale had believed he was the last man. Breathing on Vortis 9, a world burned by solar storms and stripped of oceans. The skies were the color of rust. The plains crawled with metal dust, and the nights whispered with the empty groans of a planet that should have died quietly. Kale liked it this way. No noise, no wars, no people, just him, a generator that coughed like an old man, and the abandoned research bunker he had rebuilt from ashes. He was preparing his evening ration when it happened, something he had not heard in a decade. A knock, not wind, not shifting metal, a human knock. Kale froze, heart thudding, hand inching toward the plasma cutter. The knock came again. 3 short taps. Confident, unafraid. He opened the door with a hiss of decompressed air. Outside stood 3 Huntresses, armored, masked, and carrying weapons shaped from bone and starlight. Their cloaks whipped in the dry wind. Their presence felt impossible, like a myth stepping out of smoke. The tallest removed her mask. Her eyes were sharp amber, unblinking. "Kale," she said, as if she had known him for years. "We came a long way." Kale's breath locked. "How do you know my name?" The second Huntress pushed something forward, not a weapon, but a small figure half hidden in cloth, a child, with pale skin like his, and eyes like the stars after a storm. "Meet your kids," the first Huntress said, stepping aside to reveal 2 more children behind them. Kale staggered back. What do you mean, my kids?" The leader's expression was neither kind nor cruel, simply factual. "You were never alone, Kyle," she said. "You were just abandoned on purpose." Kale's heart cracked open and the dead world suddenly felt alive again. He thought they brought children. They brought consequences. The children clung to the Huntress's legs, studying Kale with wide, uncertain eyes. 1 boy, 1 girl. 1 child whose features blended both his and someone he could not place. Kale swallowed. "Tell me what this is now." The Huntresses exchanged glances. Finally, the leader spoke. "My name is Saris. This is Rava and Lynn. We serve the matron of the outer clans, the one who once used you. Used him?" Memories he had buried long ago rattled in their tombs. A research alliance? An ambassador? A woman with silver tattoos? A night before the world burned? Kale pressed a hand to his temple. "You're telling me I fathered them?" Cirrus nodded. The matron needed hybrid offspring, half human, half clan-born, strong, adaptable, capable of surviving the coming wars. Kyle felt sick. "So she took what she needed and left me to die." Rava, the smallest Huntress, stepped forward. "It wasn't her choice. The council saw you as a threat, a human who knew too much. They erased your location from all records. The matron thought you were dead." Kale stared at the children again. Their silence hurt more than the truth. Lynn added quietly, "When the matron learned you were alive, she sent us. With the children. She said only you could protect them now." Kale's fists tightened. "Protect them from what?" Cirrus's jaw flexed. "The council discovered her rebellion. They executed her this morning." The words punched a hole through his chest. Executed. For saving him. For sending his children. Kale's voice cracked. "Then why come here?" Saris knelt, placing a child gently in his arms. "Because the council hunts them next. These children are illegal. Proof of the matron's betrayal. We needed to hide them on the last place the council would ever search." A dead world. Kale exhaled shakily, the weight of his new reality crushing him. A father, a target, a final line of defense. He whispered, "How long do we have before they find us?" Saris answered without blinking. "Not long. Their ships entered orbit 15 minutes ago. A man who never wanted to live must now fight to make sure 3 children do." Kale hurried the Huntresses and the children inside the bunker, sealing the blast door behind them. Warning lights flickered amber, orbital scanners detecting incoming ships. Inside, the bunker felt small. Too small for a man who'd survived a decade alone. Too small for 3 children who looked at him like he was a story come to life. One of them tugged his sleeve. "Are you really our father?" Kale opened his mouth, but no words came out. Cirrus answered for him. "He is, and he will keep you alive." Kale winced. "I didn't say—" "You don't have to," Cirrus said. "We saw your face when you opened that door." Rava and Lynn spread maps on the table. Escape tunnels, fallback routes, solar flare shielding zones. Kale listened, trying to focus, but everything blurred except the children. Their fear, their curiosity, their existence. He knelt before them. "What are your names?" The smallest girl lifted her chin. "Lyra." The boy tapped his chest. "7." The last child whispered, "Mary." Names. Real. Alive. Kale's voice softened. "I didn't know about you, but I'm here now." Lyra's eyes shimmered with hope. "Then you won't leave us?" Kale shook his head. "Never!" Before the moment could settle, the bunker rumbled, dust falling from the ceiling. Sarah stiffened. "They've deployed shock troopers. They're landing." Kale snapped back to survival mode. "To the armory, now." Cirrus paused. "What are you doing?" Kale loaded a rifle with a familiarity he wished he'd forgotten. "I've lived on this dead rock for 10 years. Every storm, every beast, every collapse, I survived alone." He looked at the children. "But now I have a reason not to die." He stepped toward the hatch that led to the surface. Sarris grabbed his arm. "You go out there alone, you'll be outnumbered." Kale met her gaze, steel in his voice. "I won't be alone." Cirrus smirked. "Good, because Huntresses don't abandon their missions." The children watched their father march toward war for the first time. A dead world awakens when a father decides to fight. The storm rolled across the horizon like a black tide. Not weather, but the exhaust of dropships descending. Their engines carved fire into the sky. Kale, Cirrus, Rava, and Lynn took positions on the ridge. Below, armored shock troopers marched in formation, scanning the landscape. Kale whispered, "They're searching blind. Good." Cirrus breathed deeply. "Once they pick up the children's biometrics, they won't be blind." Kale touched the trigger of his rifle. "Then we erase their scanners before they do." Rava leapt forward first, moving like a shadow. She landed behind a trooper and snapped his visor with silent precision. Lynn followed, launching 2 Lumina blades that sliced through energy packs, sending explosions rippling across the sand. Kale fired controlled bursts, hitting joints, disabling suits, never missing. For a man who hated violence, he fought like someone born for it. Cirrus yelled over the chaos, "Kale, left flank!" He turned just in time to see a heavy trooper charging, twice the size of a man, shield glowing with pulse energy. Kale braced. But something unexpected happened. The ground shook. Dust spiraled. A creature, long thought extinct, burst from beneath the sand. A skullback worm, awakened by the vibrations of battle, lunged at the heavy trooper and crushed it in one brutal snap. Lynn stared. That should be impossible. Worms died out years ago. Kyle smirked grimly. Everything on this planet refuses to die when it's supposed to. Sarris pointed to the sky. A much larger ship was descending, rectangular, black, bristling with cannons. "Council flagship," Sarris hissed. "They're sending the Arbiter." Kale had heard stories of the Arbiter, the Council's deadliest enforcer, rumored to be unstoppable. He exhaled. "So be it." Sarris touched his shoulder. "If we fail, the children—" "We won't fail," Kyle said, loading a new clip. The flagship's cannons charged, glowing violet. Kale whispered, "On my signal." The Huntresses tightened their grips. The world held its breath. Then Kale gave the signal. Now. The man who lived alone now fights for a future that finally needs him. The flagship fired. A beam of violet energy tore across the ridge, obliterating stone. Kale grabbed Sarris, dragging her behind cover as the blast scorched the air. He shouted to Rava and Lynn, "Flank the engine vents! If we overload them, the ship won't stay airborne." The Huntresses split off, moving with deadly precision. Kale sprinted toward a fallen trooper, ripping out a power core from the broken armor. He strapped it to an explosive charge, creating a makeshift destabilizer. Sarris called out, "Kale incoming!" The Arbiter descended, a towering figure clad in obsidian armor, movements inhumanly smooth. Its voice echoed with mechanical distortion. "Surrender the hybrids!" Kale stood his ground. "No." The Arbiter charged. Kale rolled aside, slamming the destabilizer onto the Arbiter's back. The machine tossed him like a rag doll, sending him skidding across the sand. Sarris hurled a spear that struck the Arbiter's visor, cracking it. Sparks shot out in violent arcs. Kale coughed blood, forcing himself up. Come on. The destabilizer beeped. 3, 2, 1. The explosion ripped the Arbiter apart, sending shards of armor flying like shrapnel. Above them, the flagship faltered. Rava and Lynn succeeded. The engine vents erupted, flames spiraling outward. The massive ship listed, groaned, and collapsed in a burning arc across the desert floor. Silence followed. Real silence. Cale's legs shook. He almost fell, but 3 small forms ran toward him. Lyra hugged his waist. "You came back." Seven grabbed his hand. "You didn't die," Miri whispered. "I knew you wouldn't." Cale crouched and held them all tightly. For the first time in 10 years, he felt truly alive. Cirrus approached, helmet under her arm. "What now, Cale?" He looked at the burning wreckage, then at the children who depended on him. "Now," he said softly. "Now we stop surviving and start living." Cirrus raised an eyebrow. "On a dead world?" Cale smiled. "A dead world that just became ours." And as the sun set over the shattered horizon, Kyle realized something. He was never meant to live alone. He was meant to fight for a future. Their future. The dead world finally had a heartbeat again.